Alright, welcome back to the road to better chess. We haven't played one in a few days, we've been busy. It's been difficult to carve out an hour for ourselves. Let's get the aircon sorted. Our opponent is going e4, so we're going to c5. This is main repertoire stuff. We're playing the Sicilian. And let's see, it's the Alapin. Alright. I think we've already faced it once, although then that after d5 our opponent played e5. And just kind of transposed again transposed into a better Sicilian, better French for us. So I guess we're going to do the same again, just get this pawn out of the pawn chain. We're going to play up our knight, we're going to play e6. So I think c5 is the better move here apparently. I think it's because you can take that pawn, so let's just put some pressure on that e5 pawn first. And now knight f5 is probably the f3 probably is probably the move. And then we're going to go e6. Very good, e6. So now we're playing a French, which I've been playing a lot in Blitz recently, just e6, d5, closing my eyes on the first turn move, and then we go from there. I don't enjoy the exchange French, which is one of the reasons I eventually stopped playing it. I just couldn't find a nice setup. But anyway, now we have an improved French. So our French bishop is outside the pawn chain. We could play h3, h6, and try and just cubby it away. Alright, white is not going to try trade off. We're happy with that. So just h6 here, and we're going to be able to put our bishop away and keep it on this diagonal. We're also going to have to look for a way to develop our knights. There's a few ways we could do this. We could always take once and then just put our bishop out, and then they're probably going to play their knight, but this walks into the kind of situations I don't like that much. We could also just do this. Then we just have to be very careful that our bishop doesn't get trapped. Alternatively, we can drop it back first. So let's just get our knight out. Yeah, let's just get our knight out. If they take this pawn, we'll deal with that with a knight jump. And the point being that even if they take the c5 pawn, that e5 pawn is just going to be weak ongoing. And we might be able to push the bishop around. If it goes back, we might be able to get at it a little bit further with something like this. So we'll see. We will see. Yeah, something. So if they take, for instance, we put pressure. Oh, okay, and this is basically walking into the situation we wanted for our bishop to have the square to run away to. This might mean that white is coming at us with f4, which could get interesting. That could follow by g4 as well. So we go back, they go f4, we jump our knight out, and then they have g4 as well, although we would take first. And in this position I think we'd be able to sneak our bishop past. They'd probably trade it off with their knight at some point though. We could also consider castling long in that case, if white throws all their pawns at us on this side of the board. Alternate moves, we could play up and hit the knight and force them to trade, and then we'd actually be stopping them from coming in, although they would have a bishop move here, which I don't like so much. Yeah, okay, so we're just going to continue. We haven't taken here yet, you see. Part of the reason is we don't want to give that knight its natural square. Alright, so this is going the way I thought it would. And we cover this square significantly, but we don't have good coverage on. So take, take, take. Unless we jump out and... unless we move the bishop back out, actually. There's nothing there really for us to do with, though. You can see here there might be something on this diagonal we could play with. So maybe in this case we go out. Bishop comes out. Or maybe we take once and then we jump our knight or queen out. We're hitting here, we're hitting here. For them to defend both, they have to move their queen up somewhere. Could get good for us. Yeah, we obviously also have this, which is good. So, okay, we're going to take once here. Should we just put up our queen directly? Because if they move their bishop, we just take here anyway. Um, if this jumps, we always have it. They have to play g4 first. But then they have this. And things are getting a little bit dicey. There is also a version where we just play up straight. They probably take, we take. Then our e-pawn is weak. Hmm. Yeah, I think we're going to take. And a combination of these moves just opens our position up. So queen out first, double hitting this pawn. Sorry, they can defend it by bringing their knight back. They can also defend it with the bishop. I think on both of those moves actually we are just going to jump our knight out to f5. Yeah, okay, so the knight does come back. And now we can hit it twice. We can also, oh well, actually this also helps us because we can sack and get a pin on the diagonal, so pretty good. We've got a triple attack on this pawn now. And very importantly, if they let us take and they try and pin it to our queen, we always have one of the minor pieces we can try and grab, because the bishop can't get involved, so it'll still be on e2 unless something changes. Importantly though, we have to be very careful here because this obviously does get our king. Our bishop isn't here to block it, so the situation isn't quite as straightforward as you might hope. We take once, they take once. So I think actually in that case we might take with our queen. So if they take, we take with our queen. And so they have to trade off the queen before they get this in. And in that case actually very happy just to walk over and get our king over because we have taken out their mid pawn. Just think if there's anything else we could do. We could try hit this, but that doesn't really seem worthwhile. I see one other thing we could try also. We could try get a knight over here because we have this diagonal. So take, 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 take here. They come over, we come over, and then we have a knight jump. We're also hitting this one actually, so that's pretty good. Never mind. Let's just go. I missed that the knight would be hitting the square. Yeah, and this is actually a massive disaster because we can take... Alright, so do we want to take out the knight or the bishop? We can always get this jump in as well, hitting here, but then we're not actually hitting anything. We have to jump it in a weird direction. We can't get anything for it, so I think we're just going to pick one of these and say thank you very much. And I think we're going to take the bishop and just have this unopposed bishop all the way down the line. Also because they might end up blocking with their queen in this case. Take, take, take here, but then we don't have a knight. Yeah. Unless we take... I think we want the two bishops, to be honest, though. We could also hit the queen in this case. She would only have 2 squares to go to. This is a nice in-between move, but I'm not sure what we do against all these other moves. Yeah, our bishop's kind of just sitting there, looking pretty. I don't quite see a move for us here. This is so tempting. But after that, what do we have? Kind of not much. And importantly now this knight wouldn't be taking with check. Okay, so we're just gonna take the bishop here and just say thank you for that. Alright, we're not gonna complicate things too much. Yeah, they were ready. We can, but our king is out. We could push once. This knight could go over there. We could push again. And then actually we would be threatening kind of like a mate situation. Because if they take, we take, and they can't take again because we would take with... Oh no, they would take, yeah, but we would take with check, so very important. Yeah, this is very tempting. Take once. The knight could also jump in here though. We probably don't want to let it in here. Okay, we're just going to castle. We're just going to get castled. Say thank you for the position. And as soon as we castled, we can try and chop off things a bit more. Yeah, you will notice we are just up a pawn, up a passed, protected pawn as well. So if we get into the endgame at this point, we should be fairly comfortable. Unless there's some tricks with the knight jumps. Also, the bishop that they have left is the one that hasn't been developed. And it's the one that's stuck behind these pawns. So even if they push here, they will have to give us that pawn, obviously. And if they push G... Okay, yeah, so they're coming in here. I'm not too opposed to that, to be honest. Because we would trade off one of our bishops, but we would again just slowly be moving towards a better endgame. So I check if there's any in-between move we want to try here, but I don't really think so. I think we're just going to castle. Castling long seems very fun, but completely unnecessary. I think we're good. We're just castling short. There is even... Wow, no. I was going to say, if they do this, there's even this, but there's not. Okay, interesting. So I can now give a pawn back if I wanted to. Here, and then they would have to take with something. I would take with something. Here, we would trade everything off, but I think I could just jump back. This is double defended. My next moves are going to be to just push this out. Yeah, I could also get out of the way this way if I wanted to stay kind of active. Yeah. But I do want my... Yeah, see, they're going to try to play down this. So maybe this is a move just to stick around. Although that means I have to come back to pick up the pawn anyway. So maybe we just come back to pick up the pawn directly. Yeah, so we're expecting knight d6. They do also have knight d4, just trading off another knight. This square that they lost did become a very nice outpost for them. Yeah, so now the trick is there isn't really anything there. If I push, just take, and you have to run this very, very far to get here, but I have this, so I think we're just going to go ahead with this. This square doesn't matter, your bishop and your queen are not lined up. Yeah, so as expected, nice little spot for the knight to sit, but we don't have to care about that just yet. We could take twice. It's not bad. Then we could go here. We could also just go here directly. I'm just checking what to do on this move. Take once. Then I have to take again, and then they can snap it off actually. Because maybe I take once first and go over. They still have that move though, I guess. It doesn't really change anything. Alright. Yeah, I think we're just gonna go here. I'd be very happy for them to take back, get our rook up. I don't really want to drop the A pawn just yet. Ooh, they are deciding they want to get very aggressive. Okay, so Maybe we'll take one, so we'll actually play the B pawn up. How will we do this? Oh, actually, here's a very dangerous little trick we have as well. Maybe we'll do that now. So we're going to go up, and if you take, we can take, you can hit us, we can get out of the way, and then we have this. We also have this directly. Up, you take, we take. And what if you push in that case? But it looks like you're doing this first. If you did do this first, I guess we would just take, we'll just let this position break down. Yeah, okay, here we come. Your light squares are weak. We can potentially win an exchange here. And if we can't win an exchange, we might be able to still piss off the queen a little bit. This I probably worked better actually. Let's go back. I think this might have worked better here before we offered the rook trade though, because obviously once they trade, this rook might be moving. But too late to worry about that now. Okay, they do take, we take back. Nothing's hanging in our position. And we did see that, unfortunately, that spoils the plan a tiny bit. I could also just come back again, kind of say, whoops, I made a mistake. Could come over, could still hit the queen, but I don't think it really matters because there's nothing behind it. So once they come in, we can come in here, and then we can sit on this square and come in there. Oh, okay. This is looking good. So maybe they're going to go a3 now. We can jump across once, hitting the rook, then we can jump here, which is still protected, then we can jump in there. And that is just a beautiful square for our knight. Any other in-between moves? Well, nope, this looks pretty good. So here, don't forget my bishop. You can't take that knight, be careful. So this is the path we have. I'm actually no, but you're double attacking it. Yeah, I have to move it first. Actually, I think this might be a mistake actually, because they can like sack to double attack it. And then I've just lost my pawn. I guess I could gain it back that side. Alright, we're continuing with the nice jump we saw. So this knight basically being able to go somewhere else is the trick I saw, because it opens up. But if it doesn't take something and it doesn't hit something very, very vital, we could probably just pick up the knight. Hit that rook again, come back, trade it off. That pawn is unfortunately weak. Yeah, we're getting a little bit fancy with this position. We do have this jump as well, but no, the point was to get into this open spot. The unfortunate point about that is also that our bishop is doing slightly less. But there's a very, very dangerous jump right there, forking the queen and king. So it does feel like this is worthwhile doing. Oh wow. Okay. Alright, I'm just going to continue with this jump, because if they spend one more move on anything, I'm forking the queen and king. So they've got to be very careful, otherwise I'm just picking up the exchange here. If they take, I can take back, I'm still good. And then I actually have my rook on an open file as well, which is very dangerous for them. Oh, and they just resigned. Alright. I mean, I was actually thinking maybe they could go back. They're covering this square, they're getting out of a fork, and they would just lose the exchange. But slowly but surely, they just don't have enough anymore. After they go here, I'd be very happy to take because there's no attack against my king. Alright, let's just go back a little bit. Let's have a look at how this game came about. So this is the second time we've played d5 against the Alapin, expecting the normal move, which is to take the pawn, and then we take back with our queen. They play d4, and importantly, because they played c3, like I mentioned earlier in the video, c3 covers the square for the knight. The queenside knight doesn't have its natural square, so it can't hit our queen there. So our queen actually just chills on d5 for a little bit. We bring out some more pieces. We could play e6 or e5, or light square bishop could go to any of these squares. There's a version of this where you just end up giving white an IQP. There's a version of this where they take back and we just take and we're just happy, or we just trade the queens and castle long. So yeah, anyway, they push past, and this is suboptimal because now we get our light square bishop out before we play e6. Oopsie. So this is just, this is just a good, easy position for black. We're not miles better, but we're not worse at all. And importantly here, I saw last time, well, it's not that important, but e6 is not necessary at first. You actually play knight c6 because you would be happy to trade your c pawn for their e pawn. Especially if they take, because then actually they have no pawns left in the center, so that's really good. Anyway, they didn't, so now I play e6, and here, still good. I probably didn't have to play this. I could have played something else. I could have taken and forked, although it's not really worthwhile. Um, but I wanted to get my knight over here. And I like White's idea, by the way, playing f4, dangerous stuff. This obviously only works when I've put a knight on e7, otherwise that knight would hang. So if I could sack this knight somewhere, then I could probably pick up that knight, but there's no sack. And so I kept my light square bishop. This ended up being very good for us, right? We ended up kind of covering the light squares straight through the middle, especially these 2-3 squares became very important for us. f4, really fun move. Here I've got options. We'll have to see if the engine or theory tells us which one is best. They've got g4 directly there, and I wasn't sure what do I do there. Do I play up first, but then they can take the bishop anyway? I decided to just open up the middle, put the pressure, and here again they had the option to go back. I would hit it, come back here, and then that bishop is just a little bit not as good as it could be, right? Because it's not hitting anything, but also it would hang the b pawn in this position. Alright, so we do continue, and I expected again maybe like a queen move or g4. Maybe g4 is better. Anyway, they developed. We did snap it off. Importantly, snapping it off with the f knight to avoid checks here because our light square bishop is way over on h7. So, like I said here, also if they go here, it doesn't matter because I can take anything, and then actually yeah, it doesn't matter because the queen and the rook can take back. But yeah, I could win a piece and run away from the bishop. Also, they had the option of just taking again, and then in this case, I was thinking to take with my queen. If I take with the knight, they get this check, and I actually still do fine, but I kind of missed it at the start. I didn't realize that the knight would cover the square, so I thought that I might be worse. So I was expecting to just have to walk out of the check with king d8, but actually it's just crashing either way. Alright, they walk out of it, and I decided to pick up the light square bishop. Very nice for us. This diagonal is now basically ours. And now we're just going to develop in castle. I expected them to jump their knight in here. I was happy to snap off the pawn and come back. There's no way for them to directly defend it. And we'd be happy to be up another pawn because our king is safe. Anyway, the little in-between move. I could have gone here, but again, if they jump the knight and I snap it off, I want to be ready to take the pawn, so happy, and then I kick the knight back, and the knight comes onto a very nice outpost. So this is maybe a bit of compensation for white for losing that pawn, is the fact that they could put a knight there. And then their kingside attack is actually coming. I just don't think they needed the h pawn. They should have just continued even straight away um, with f5 here to just crash open the middle and just have all of this this activity versus my kind of more passive setup. Also, my idea doesn't work if I trade off the bishop, so this was really stupid. I should have maybe just done this straight away, but it felt safer to develop the rook, so maybe it's okay. Let's avoid that trick. Let's just play safe. Yeah, I think nothing stops you from playing G4 directly here. You do not need H3. Not necessary in the least. Anyway, here we jump, they trade, they get a tempo on us, but we also get our queen kind of off the back rank, and we could trade off if we need to. They hit us, and now we've looked at this kind of complicated maneuver to get here. I was worried in this position if they take a pawn like this, but actually it turns out we can just take back with the knight. Again, blanked on it. If they jump out of the way, I guess we could also just take it to snap. So there actually isn't any good jump for them to make here. We would basically just trade off. Although if they jump there, no, I would probably snap it off first. This might have been a jump that's worth looking at. Could have been interesting. Um, I wonder, because the point is it's coming in here, right? So I guess if you jump over, I have to defend the knight again. You can attack it. No, you can't attack it again, actually. Okay, so that probably was a better move. Anyway, here they continue. I continue with the jump, and here they sorry, they resign because they're losing an exchange. There's no way for them to stop that because I'm going to check their king and queen. So they're just losing too much material, and they've waited too long. This h3 move, I think, was just the killer for them, and they resigned. All right, let's have a quick look at the opening book, the bookie book. So here we go, Alapin, and yeah, e5 on the master level. You can see 63% for masters, very very good. On a more amateur level, so top lead chess 2000 and up, rapid and classical, e5 still a little bit with black. Yeah, taking is definitely the move. So just to show the general idea, I don't know. I'll just make some. Let's just run the top lines quickly. Oh, I would not play e6. Yeah, yeah. I would probably play knight c6, bishop up somewhere, and bishop up somewhere. Honestly, I'd probably play something more like this even. Knight c, bishop g4 or bishop f5. I like both of them. Bishop e2. Yeah, maybe. You get the idea. There's a bunch of plays you can play. Anyway, they push past. Oh, okay, interesting. So, master level is just knight c6 directly. Let's look at this quickly. This is news for me. d4. Oh, okay. I mean, it's the same. It's the same thing. You're just transposing and avoiding something. Let's see if this is any different. If we go bishop directly, knight f3 is actually really good. Why? Knight a3, bishop b. I mean, none of these moves scare me, so I'm not so sure why I should care so much about this. Huh. Alright, a little bit unsure. I mean, if they go d4 and we go e6, it's the exact same position as the game. Those e6, and yeah, bishop e2 is a main move, but the whole situation scores better for black. You can see the devaluation. White just doesn't have anything amazing here. This bishop xb1 is a move I've considered in the previous game. Actually, I ended up playing kind of like a fancy thing like this. The point being that there's just nothing that can sit on that square. So if you take again, I jump in and I'm hitting you there. Let me just make sure I'm not lying to you. Yeah. Yeah, so it's just queen up and I'm going to win this pawn and your position is just a little bit less comfortable. Um, you're not beating me as such. Like so here, let's see. So here, oh okay, sorry, I was gonna take the pawn, maybe that's worse. Yeah, that's actually terrible for black. Take it back right away. Alright, queen take, okay. I guess in this position it's just massively drawish. Alright, but anyway, I didn't want to play any of this bishop xb1 stuff. Knight g7, all of this kind of transposes. I played h6, which is not a main move here. So they took the pawn, they took the knight, they played their knight out. Knight h6 is a move I have played back in the day. I remember I played this and my opponent took, and I took back, and I won the game, and people asked me, whoa, was that planned theory? And I was like, no, I just didn't have any other moves. So yeah, but anyway, it worked out well. Anything else? Queen b6 directly, just putting more pressure there. Alright, no one else really worrying about h6 here. There's a little bit of h6, but it's not the main move. Okay, so maybe next time what would we do? Queen b6. Let's try queen b6, dx, castle and dx. If they do dx, we take with the knight, the bishop, obviously. b4 is trashy. Okay, knight g, a5. Knight g is very bad. Oh, because now your bishop gets stuck. That's silly, yeah. Alright, so here you have to play a5 first to get some space, or you have to just drop your queen back. And I don't really know if it was worth it, to be honest. Or you can take, and then you can check or knight out, or queen out, or bishop xb1. On the top level, it's just bishop check, knight out, knight g. Just get a smooth development. Alright, so we went a little bit off the beaten track with h6. There are some moves in the leeches thing, I think, though. They castled. Bishop e3, very bad here, apparently. Anything special happening here? Okay, yeah, it's just the queen move with your bishop being kind of a bit caught offside. So castle. Yeah, I didn't really know where to put it. And here they can take the pawn. And I thought that this would actually be okay for us, though. Here we go. Maybe they try to defend it with b4. What would I do in this case? Just line up. The reason I thought it was okay was I can take the mid pawn, but there's also the a pawn moving, just to kind of break apart the queenside pawn structure. Anyway, this looked good for me, but it didn't happen, so all good. They just went back, and here best move was just to take the pawn. Take, 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 take. And I've got two attackers, so I'll just win a pawn here. Alright, so I lose my light square bishop. It's not my best bishop anyway though. And I win a pawn. So this was maybe just something I should have calculated a bit better. I didn't want to lose this. I didn't want to lose this bishop, but I guess it actually doesn't matter that much. Just up a pawn. Up two pawns at this point, apologies. This is just very good for black maybe, yeah. Minus 1.6. Alright, something to keep in mind. Anyway, I tucked it away as planned. F4. I really like this move for white, although it looks like the engine says it's just terrible. The evaluation just stays in black's favor the whole time. So we take once, bring our queen out. Yeah, okay. I think we just played really perfectly the whole time. Which one does it prefer to take here? Oh, actually, this move is a move, but what happens after this? Oh, because the rook's still hanging. Oh my goodness. Okay, I mean, I didn't look this far at all, but this is very interesting. Yeah, I thought this knight jump just wasn't worth it, but clearly I had to calculate a lot further. Well, hang on. What if I did this and they just don't? Yeah, what if they just do this? Oh, okay, I can still just take the exchange, right? That's the whole point. And in this case, if they go back, and then I've transferred my knight over, and I'm coming through. Hit me, defend, hit your light square bishop. Okay, interesting. Alright, so this protected passer we have actually turns out to be instrumental in just crushing white's position. Anyway, we just took it, still good. Ah, okay, yeah, and still this move was on the cards. I thought about it. I did think about it, but it just seemed completely unnecessary. Yeah, our evaluation is still pretty good after that, doesn't matter. Yeah, nothing wrong here, nothing wrong here. In this position, they just take, and obviously they take back with the knight. Come over again. Okay, we're just slowly trading off all the pieces, being upper past her, so nothing to complain about here. Yeah, h3. I thought they should play g4 here. I thought this was the move. Oh, then I can pin your knight to your king. Now you've just lost so much more time. Okay, and I'm just gonna... Okay. I guess at the end of the day, having the control of the center just means that black is always a little bit better. My fancy plan with my knight jumps. Here I thought that there would be a knight take like this, but clearly there's nothing. Okay, yeah, and then at this point g5 is just crashing. Is queen back the best move? Yeah, queen e1 is... Queen e1 all forward. Alright, but it's all -4, so fair enough. Alright, great. Very, very happy to take a win. Um, I just saw our opponent was 1943, so really great to be beating some 1900 players again. I like the ambulance emoji from Snoring Lax. This is the same one that Eric Rosen has. And I know in their case, obviously, it's because of the meme about call an ambulance, because they like sacking stuff and creating tricky situations. Alright, I think that's going to be it. Got another one in the books. We're still climbing. We're still doing very well, actually, in terms of our rating. We have only lost one game so far, so looks like the pool is not quite as strong as the league we play in, which I kind of knew anyway. So we continue to learn, we continue to update our understanding of our positions a little bit, and look forward to seeing what we have in store next time. Yeah, and until then, keep on improving. See ya. Bye bye.